if you ask 10 people how they build a website, you'll get 10 different ways, 10 different processes for building a website. There's no proper school, there's no curriculum for learning this trade. If you go online, you search for how to create a website company, you'll get different proposals from 50 euros to 50,000 euros. What kind of profession is that? It's strange. I've been in this industry, believe it or not, 14 years. I started in an SEO company, then built my own company, affiliate websites. I created content websites, and then I joined Elementor. That was 4 years ago. And in the past 4 years, our clients, you people, have been an obsession of mine. Figuring out how this profession works, how people can build websites for a living. And it's strange. So, is it a profession or is it a gig? Is it something you can build a future and an income and trust that it will provide for you? Or is it something you do on the side just to get an extra income? So, let's think of another industry. You're in a restaurant. Let's say Casa Lucio, if anyone knows. And you just ordered a big juicy steak and it arrives and you are just about to bite down on it and then you think, this cost me 50 euros. Why? I could make it at home. I could buy it in the supermarket and make it at home. Why did I pay the chef so much money to get this steak? Then you try to make it at home and the result, not necessarily you burn it, but it's not the same. Why? Because the chef, it's his profession, his or her profession. I mean, he spent a few years being a sous chef at another restaurant, then studied at a chef school, then got reviews, got feedback from clients, from the people who ate at the restaurant, maybe a review. Had a few years of perfecting the trade and really being the top chef. And that's why you go to this restaurant and you pay that much money. Can that work for our profession? So, if you think about how many people learn how to build a website, it's in YouTube. You go in, you search how to create a website, you'll get hundreds of results in any language. And what do they teach you in those lessons? They teach you how to find a domain, how to get a domain, how to get hosting, how to install WordPress, all the technical things to build a website. Drag and drop, use Elementor, create a site. It's quick and easy. If we build our profession according to this information, is that enough? Well, I think I just discovered the perfect business model. I get a client, and the client wants a website, and I'm on the phone. Oh, you need a website, no problem. You want it to generate traffic? Sure. You want leads? Let's do it. Then you quickly, you know the drill. You get a theme, you quickly mix and match, maybe customize it a bit, and shoot it to the client. Job done. Perfect business model, right? The more you deliver, the more website you create, more money you can make. That's just perfect, right? The fact is, this business model doesn't work. And why doesn't it work? It's not working because, for you as a professional, it's not a profession. I mean, if you base your career on this method, someone from Fiverr can do the same thing for a lot less money. Moreover, in a few years, most likely a software will be able to you enter the details of your site, quickly create a website automatically. So what happens is, throughout the years, you can make less and less money. That's for your perspective. From the perspective of the client, does this site that you create actually fit the business of the client? We're talking about a small business, and you just downloaded the theme, spent 10 minutes customizing it. Is this site going to bring value to the client? I'm not sure. Think about, let's delve deep into this issue. Think about that small business, okay? Small businesses don't operate with a huge margin, right? Like, they earn what they earn, and they don't have huge revenues. If they want to build a website, they need to take a large portion from their margin and invest in you to build a website. So they're not building a website just to be on the web. It's not enough. They're building a website in order to make more sales. That's the goal. That's why they took a large portion, a few $1,000s or euros, and decided to build a website. So for that money, they expect to get more sales. And I'm not just talking about a shoe store. If it's a business coach, they also want to get more sales. No matter what business you're building a website for, they want to get more sales. So basically, this is the process that you need to work with. You need to make sure the business is successful. If the business is successful, you're successful. Why is that? First of all, they will refer more clients to you. If you've helped them generate more sales, they'll appreciate it and bring more business to you. Second of all, you can price yourself higher. And third, in a few years, they're going to need another website. Most likely, they will be returning customers. So, why does this industry even have that question? Think about it. Like, if I'm a business coach and I'm working with clients, of course I'm going to give them more sales. Why does this industry doesn't have that intuitively? And the reason is that building website used to be a really hard process. Who here created websites in the Photoshop days? Maybe Dreamweaver. So you know the excruciating pain that it took to create a website. You had to take the files from Photoshop, slice it, dice it, then pass it to the developer. Hopefully everything works out and the prototype looks like the live website. And the client just says thank you that you managed to put something up. But today with tools like Elementor, this has changed. It's fairly easy and it's getting easier to create websites. So actually, you have to start thinking about other industries and actually bring value to the client. If we think about the process that I described earlier, the mix and match, would a doctor work like that? So think I'm a doctor, someone enters my exam room, I say, well, I see your cheeks are a bit red. Here, take this medicine. That won't work. You actually need a set process for examining the patient, asking them questions, taking their medical, medical tests. Then you diagnose them, and you end up giving them the proper treatment. And that treatment can even be direction to another doctor. The same process needs to be done for the web creator. You need to do examination, ask them questions, test their website, give them the diagnosis, and only then decide on which treatment they need. So this is a very diluted version of this process. And you see it's made up with two parts. One is the background. You have to understand how the business works. What is the business and what's the process like? How is the business generating clients today? And the other part is understanding the goal of the project. What kind of website will you build? So let's go over that list in a bit more detail. But first, know that this talk is about SMBs, small and medium businesses. Most likely, you probably know that, they don't know the answers. Exactly. They don't have all the answers. So it's not like you're going to bring them the questions and they're like, oh yeah, give you a list. You're going to have to dig and ask and really inquire. This is their face. This is how they will look at you. So you have to be persistent and kind of let them know and explain along the way. And yes, you are acting as a bit more than just a web creator. You're actually incorporating more knowledge from business. It's important. The first question, what does the business do? A business owner should know what their business does, right? But you'll find that sometimes they don't. And if you don't understand as a web creator what the business does, how will you build a website that functions, that brings success for them? You won't be able. You'll just build a generic web page that doesn't work. And there's another reason why this is important. If they can't explain how their business works, maybe they're not a client you want to work with. So I think there are two types of answers they can give you. They can give you a very straightforward answer. I'm a real estate lawyer. Okay, everything is clear. But they can also give you a very vague answer. A business that sells electric circuits and disposable diapers also does consultation. This happens in the real world. And you as a web creator, what will you put in the home page? What will you put in the hero section? Most likely it's going to be a whole mess, and that website won't be able to generate any results. Second question, who is the target audience? So I had a friend from another SaaS company, and I asked this question, who is your company's target audience? And he told me, everyone. But the fact is, if this is your answer, again, you won't be able to create a good page, a good website. And if you get the answer for a specific niche, you'll be able to learn the business and the client more. See their world, learn their language. If the target audience are teens, then you can speak the same language, design the same, from the same world. And the next question is, what is the challenge of that audience and how does your business solve it? And this is really, not all small businesses will have an answer for that, but if they do, this is a blast. This is really a great thing for you, because the website that you create, if it addresses the solution that the business brings, it can bring a huge value. So this is an example of a site built with Elementor. And what they understood is this hat was built from a challenge. The challenge was, when you have sunglasses, you put it on your head. If you have a hat, it keeps falling off. So they created holes to fit the sunglasses in. And this is exactly what they put at the top of the page. There are more things that this hat does. They could have placed the fabric and other features. They decided to put this in the hero. Next question. Where do the clients come from? Super important. Like, are they coming from social, from Instagram? The website will look a certain way. Maybe have a few social and interaction elements. Do they come from one-on-one sales? It should be more personal. So you have to understand where they come from. And moreover, what does a sales process look like? Is it a first interaction on the phone and then meeting one-on-one? This way, if you figure out the exact steps until from the time the client first contacts till the time they close the deal, you'll be able to build a site that integrates with it. If there's a sales team, they'll be able to show the website at the exact same time, and it will help their sales process. Next, we go to the goal of the site. Is the client ready to help you? When you start a project, you need the client's help. So think about it. During the whole stage of building the website, you're going to need the client's help for making decisions. You won't be able to design something without the client's approval, right? You're going to need images, you're going to need content, and you're going to need the information from the owner. If they're not up to helping you and they're not enlisted in helping you out, it's not going to work. And after you finish the project, you are still going to need the help from the client. So again, who is going to update the site? Who is going to add content, maybe create a blog? If they're not willing to help, if they're not enlisted, either find a professional or find another solution. Because you don't want to wait for the client. Again, you're thinking about the client's success. If the client doesn't succeed, you don't. Which site do they actually want or need? So why did I write want and need? Because the client, when they come to you, they want something. I want traffic, I want leads, I want a beautiful site. That's not necessarily what they need. Again, we talked about they don't understand necessarily the business and how the site operates. So you have to think about what they want, think about their consideration, but then also test their website, know the industry, and then recommend what the business actually needs, what kind of sites. So this is an example of a site. It's in Hebrew, so I'm sorry, but it's a site for a tax expert. And the site is built as a portal. So it's a business, a small business, but instead of building the small business and showcasing images from the business, they created a portal with tons of SEO pages. So a huge investment. No client is going to leave a lead from this type of page. So that's a bad match. So if you think about the type of sites, I've written here a few types of sites that small businesses might need. So let's have a small quiz and see if you can answer. Let's say I have a small shop where I sell nuts and dried fruits. What kind of site would you recommend I build? Catalog? Online shop? Most probably a business card, that's true. Okay, next try. I'm an artist and I want to, most of my clients see my work on Instagram. I want to build a website. What kind of website would you? Portfolio. That's true. Okay, now I'm a seller on Amazon and I also have a website, but it started generating a few sales through the phone. I'm seeing some success. I want a website. What would you recommend? Landing page? Maybe? I would say for this project, I would consider online shop. And finally, I have a big company that sells very expensive servers. I have a sales team and a line of products. What would you recommend? Catalog, that's true. So, great. Another question you need to ask, why did this client decide to build it today? Now that's a bit of a tricky question to understand, but it's important. There was a certain reason that the client came to you. There was a certain event that triggered him contacting you, wanting to build a site. It might be a friend of theirs commenting that the site didn't look so well. It might be that they couldn't update the site. This reason is different than the objective of the project, but it's still important. We want to understand the trigger because even if we finish and complete the project successfully with the goal, we also want to solve the original question that was raised by the client. How long will the client use the site for? I mean, if it's an event that is only one-time event in 3 months, how much am I going to invest in this site? I wouldn't recommend that the client invest thousands and thousands of dollars on this, maybe even build the site on his own. On the other hand, if it's a site that is supposed to, let's say the catalog, that is supposed to serve the sales teams 2 years from now, think about how much money this is worth for the client. I mean, it's like a sales team, another sales team. So by actually asking this question, you're showing that you care about the success of the client. You care, and you're not selling yourself. You're not saying, listen, here's all my past work. You're actually giving value to the client because they understand that you care about the prospect of the site. What are the assets of the site? Is there a logo? Are there images? Is there a design language? This is important beforehand because you have to figure that out before you start the project. If needed, you have to recommend another professional that can bring these sort of assets. So when the client comes to you, they see you as a web expert. They see you're able to do everything. They think for an X amount of money, you'll create their design language, create their logo. Most of you probably are familiar with this issue. So I would recommend, if you find out what they need, what asset they need, recommend another professional to give that. It's kind of doesn't exactly make sense because you're telling your client spend more money and that money doesn't come to you. But in fact, it makes perfect sense because again, you want to be that chef. You want to give success to the client. This is an important question. How will you measure success? I mean, if you are not aligned with the success metrics of the project, you're going to be sure that you did a great job, but the client wanted something else. You tried to create a great design, but the client wanted leads. You wanted social appearance, the client wanted traffic. So we have to make sure we are aligned and we're both directed to the same cause. And what is the exact expectation for that measure? Let's say we decided we want to get more leads. How many will be a success? Is it 10%, 20%? These are all the things that not just need to be verbally, they need to be written down. So at the end of the project, you come back to the client and say, listen, we went above and beyond. You know, if you don't do that, the client will, they will get the appetite and kind of everything that you deliver, they will want more, of course. This way you can come back and say, I delivered. So this is a quote by a book that I really recommend. It's called Getting Naked by Patrick Lencioni. What clients want more than anything is to know that you're more interested in helping them than we are in maintaining a revenue source. So this ties together everything we talked about. This is the way we can be the chefs, we can be the experts. We show that we care about the value, and the way we show our care is about actually asking questions. One question can lead to another, delving down into their business, making sense of it, and knowing what kind of project we will deliver. remember this equation. A successful business is a successful web creator. So I wish everyone here, for your next project, be sure you're a top chef and that you deliver value. Thank you.
I have a question for you, like a bonus track for your speech. What is working for you with content creation, and what is not working for you? ¿Qué le sirve a nivel de creación de contenido y qué es lo que no le ha funcionado? Do you understand the question?
Well, I have a long question, but I'll try to make it short.
Yes.
Basically, I think it was June, we launched our magazine, and we decided to create several formats, like 6 formats. And it was really in the mode of testing things. So if you go to WordPress, most WordPress websites, you see again and again, only tutorials, only how-tos. So what we tried to do is create different formats. So we created top news, and we created Monday Masterclass, if you know, a recurring video. We created formats and started working with them. After a while, we noticed, you know, in analytics, in comments, what was working less, what was working more, and it's something that we keep testing new formats. And currently, video is, I would say, the most.
So the proposal is try a few and use the most successful, right?
Well, it depends how much time you have. So if you're a one-man or one-woman person managing the whole operation yourself, I would try small things. So a format can be a format to Instagram. Maybe start trying quotation, start trying a carousel. But even time, how much it takes you, see the reaction and then decide.
Lo que está diciendo es que si tienes capital y recursos, puedes hacer una prueba con distintos formatos de contenido y a partir de analytics, de las mediciones que haces, usar lo que más te gusta. Pero también sugiere, si eres un negocio de una sola persona o 2 personas, este micrófono va fatal. Básicamente lo que tienes que hacer es probar pequeñas cosas. O sea, no gastes demasiada energía en probar demasiadas cosas al mismo tiempo.
Nice to meet you. I would like to know, for how long have you been there in the company?
4 years.
4 years, okay. How Elementor growth in that years is amazing. So what did you see 4 years ago in that project that made you believe so much to continue there? Only the money? I don't think so.
Well, actually, I was a client of, before Elementor, it was a theme company. So I was actually a client of the theme company. And when I, interviewed for the job, I was like eager to work with the company because I love the themes. But when we started, I think because I was someone who created websites myself, I just saw the potential because it was very difficult. But because when you introduce a new product to an industry that already has solutions, people don't want to hear about it. So most people are like, no, I'm using this page builder already, we don't need another one. So I heard that a lot, so it was very hard. And I think what helped was really the sprouts of community that started, that people, people from the bottom, like early adopters, started liking it. They also saw the potential. That gave the entire energy.
Thank you. Thank you.
La pregunta ha sido que qué le ha hecho quedarse los años que ha estado en la empresa, que son 4. Él contaba que él ya era cliente de la protoempresa, que era una empresa de temas, que como era cliente le gustaba mucho el proyecto, y que le contaron sobre el proyecto Elementor, y que lo que él le ha hecho seguir en Elementor es el potencial del proyecto y el valor de la comunidad que veía alrededor de ese proyecto.
Hace un par de años, Elementor usaba solo los datos tuyos cuando comprabas Elementor Pro.
Sí.
Ahora, al usar Elementor Pro en la página de un cliente, Elementor capta los datos de tus clientes y les envía correos a tus clientes.
Okay. He's asking that a few years ago, when you had this Elementor Pro account, Elementor was sending information only to your customer. But he's saying that currently Elementor is using the information of the customer of your customer, and you are sending information to them. He's asking that. I don't know if that's true.
No, we send email. You're talking about emails. We send emails only to people who register through the site. Yeah.
Sí, bueno, no sé muy bien por dónde vas, pero dice que no, que solo mandan información a los correos. ¿No te referirás al tema del registro de actividad que solicitan voluntariamente y anónimamente? ¿A eso te refieres?
Ellos captan los detalles de tus clientes también, no solo los tuyos. O sea, yo tengo mi licencia, pero no solo usan mis datos. Les mandan correos a mis clientes también, a sus correos.
Yo, a lo mejor lo podemos hablar después arriba. Él acaba de contestar que no hacen eso.
¿Qué nos espera en los próximos años entre Elementor y Gutenberg? ¿Da miedo? ¿Es un rival Gutenberg? ¿Esperáis mucha competencia?
How do you what is your expectation about Gutenberg in relation with Elementor in the next few years? As competence or?
I think that Matt in WordCamp US answered this, that there's a place in WordPress. That's what's great about it. There's a place in WordPress for a few form plugins and a few pop-up plugins and a few editors. And I think this goes deep because there's different needs for different professions. Again, it comes down to being a professional. If you think about every industry has different platform for different professionals. So I think for bloggers, you need a different tool set than for designers. So I think Elementor will continue. I mean, there was a lot of talk that Gutenberg will replace Elementor, I think a year ago, and today I think it's much more established that we're here, we're growing, it's a huge industry, and it's just getting better. When I see the amount of plugins that keep, third-party plugins that keep rising, I mean, that's a huge sign that it's an industry that's going places.
Vale, esto lo voy a traducir, yo sé que muchos lo habéis entendido. Preguntaba el tema de qué va a pasar con Elementor. Todos usamos Elementor y es una duda súper razonable si vamos a dedicar nuestro tiempo a esto. Lo que él dice es que es claro, es que hay lugar para todos los plugins. Hay lugar para el editor de Gutenberg y hay lugar para Elementor y probablemente algún editor visual más, igual que hay lugar para varios formularios o para varios plugins de SEO, o como sucede en todos los tipos de plugins, que hay varios. Yo creo que diferentes usuarios tienen diferentes requerimientos y diferentes usuarios tienen diferentes gustos. Él hablaba de la charla de Matt, y esto lo mencionó en la WordCamp US en noviembre.
Yes.
El pasado, estamos hablando hace muy poquito. Yo quiero añadir, básicamente, que en este año de Gutenberg, que ha sido un año espectacular de Gutenberg, y todos los usuarios de WordPress estamos muy contentos por esto, ha sido el año de mayor crecimiento de Elementor en la historia de ellos, que es muy cortita, pero es bastante afilada. O sea que yo creo que, por mi parte, mi expectativa es que va a haber lugar para Elementor para muchos años.
Hi Ben, thank you for coming to Madrid. I guess my question is more about the background and the strategy you follow. Because I've been a final user, I'm not a developer, I'm not a designer, I'm a final user, and Elementor lets me manage my entire site and my e-commerce on my own, which I feel very proud of. But it's all thanks to Elementor. And as an active member of the community, I feel really listened to, through all the channels, the YouTube channel, the blog comments, and I guess in the Elementor team, you have a clear strategy, smart goals, and productivity tools, and anything like that, while keeping an eye on your competitors, for example. And I guess, how do you manage change as a team while keeping all those strategies? Is there any organic way to do it? Thank you.
I think my presentation now was really directed not only to a certain profession. I think if you're a designer or a marketer or a developer, if you use these skills to bring value to your client, or in your case, to your own business, you're going to deliver success no matter what your skill set is. So of course you want to keep improving on different skills that you have, but I would say the main thing that people need to understand as a fundamental is how the business works and how you can translate what the business does into a web environment. That's a lot of knowledge, that takes time, takes experience. That's I think the first part of the question that you raised. Regarding our team, it's a big challenge. I mean, we've grown. When I started in Elementor, we were 5, and now we've passed 120 employees. So that's a huge leap. And for us, it's the same process to learn how to work at scale, to learn how communication improves. And so you have to adapt. If you're in a growing business, you have to adapt to constant change.
It's something on the go.
I think, yes. I think when the company grows, you have to adapt to change, but also when technology grows, you have to adapt to change. If you're a one-man person managing a business, you have to adapt to the new technology. Disruption is getting faster and faster and faster. Like, if you think about how long it took for TV to enter living rooms, and then computers, and then mobile phones, it's getting shorter and shorter. And now AI and other technologies are changing the industry. So the people who can move the fastest are the people who will succeed to adapt.
Thank you.
Voy a traducir la parte del crecimiento, que es la parte más interesante y que es la única que me recuerdo. Estos son párrafos muy largos. Una de las cosas que planteaba Ben, que había contado un poco, ellos empezaron hace 4 años y eran 5, y esto nos lo contaba hoy también al mediodía comiendo. Y las startups tienen que estar preparadas, o nosotros como emprendedores también muchas veces, en un modelo muy similar, tenemos que estar preparados para el crecimiento. Y estar preparado para el crecimiento es complejo. Y estar preparado para el crecimiento es estar preparado para el cambio permanente. O sea que es como una cultura que se va adquiriendo primero por el error y después por la acción continua de estar sobre la ola del cambio permanente, que es el crecimiento, de pasar en 4 años de 5 a 120 empleados.
Hi Ben, yo lo que quería saber es un poco cuál es el... Aquí, ¿cuál es por dónde pasa el futuro de Elementor? Cuando ellos arrancaron, lanzaban prácticamente una novedad o una funcionalidad nueva cada semana. Ahora parecen más centrados en la generación de contenido y en hacer crecer esa comunidad. Y quería saber si el futuro pasa por seguir mejorando la herramienta y añadir nuevas funcionalidades más o menos al ritmo que hacían al inicio, o si se van a apoyar mucho en desarrollos de terceros como Essentials o Ultimate Add-ons para añadir esas nuevas funcionalidades.
La siguiente pregunta, por favor, hacerla más corta, porque si no, no soy capaz de repetírsela a él. Okay, this is something he's asking as a feeling that Elementor community has. Until the last year, Elementor was adding a lot of features, new features, new functions, and since the last 6 months, I can say from my own, is slowing down what we can see as new features. It's great, still great, but it's slowing down. And he's saying that Elementor is focusing on content creation. If Elementor in the future will release on third companies like Essentials or Ultimate Add-ons, or you will still bringing new features to the product? That's the question.
So first of all, we are bringing new features and widgets. In the last year, there has been a change in focus. That if you look at the releases that were last year, there were major releases. So it was pop-up builder and motion effects, and the idea was we took care of a lot of infrastructure. So I think it brings a lot more value to actually make sure that the site has a deeper infrastructure. It prepares Elementor for a lot of the things that are coming up even next week. I can preview. So we have really amazing and exciting features lined up for 2020, and I'm not talking about small widgets. I mean, the small widgets will happen, but I'm talking about big, fundamental, game-changing things that will happen this year, where the entire team has been working on this, and so a lot of the things that happened last year were preparation for things that will come this year.
Voy a traducir parcialmente lo que ha dicho y parcialmente lo que yo conozco desde lo que nos comentan a la gente de comunidad, porque sí que nosotros como gente que tenemos distintos grupos lo hemos ido preguntando. Ha habido una cierta ralentización en nuevas herramientas, pero sí es cierto que han salido herramientas muy importantes, como por ejemplo la parte de animación o la parte que es con CSS Flexbox, right? La incorporación de Flexbox, la incorporación del pop-up, y después sí se ha espaciado un poquito las actualizaciones, pero si miráis el changelog veréis que ha habido mucho cambio interno. Y esto tiene que ver con la preparación para la gran release, que será la 3 en algún momento del 2020 seguramente.
I want to add that some of the third-party add-ons, they focus on widgets. That's great for us because our focus is really how to improve website creation, the whole process, the workflow, to make it more seamless, so you actually can bring better results for a client and work smarter than users work today, and bring the new technologies of the future.
Yeah. Dice que para ellos es una gran ocasión que haya tantos fabricantes que producen plugins con widgets, porque eso les permite enfocarse más en funciones adicionales. A mí el primer ejemplo que se me ocurre es el de la versión 2.0, que fue como un antes y un después de WordPress, porque añadió el tema de custom post types y custom fields, que era una parte que además lo ha añadido de una forma muy compatible y muy estándar con lo que es el WordPress, que yo creo que es una gran práctica que Elementor siga las bases de WordPress y opere sobre ellas encima.
Do you feel some afraid about those companies that are taking part of the market of web design, taking advantage of the Elementor structure, making new widgets and so on? Because in Facebook forums and Facebook groups, sometimes I read some discussions about if it's better to take Elementor Pro or other companies. How do you feel about this?
Gracias.
I
will... no, answer please.
Well, if you have clients, a client wants something that Elementor hasn't created, like a widget. And the fact that there's such a huge ecosystem of developers that can actually listen to the community and in a week create it, that's empowering for the whole ecosystem, and it empowers ourselves as a company, because we make solutions that don't require code. So I think this is, Elementor has created this sort of layer that helps a lot of developers work faster, create products, and it's a win-win situation. So basically we see it as something great, and that's the actual power of open source. If you think about why Android is so successful, why WordPress is so successful, it's because it actually allows a lot of creators to make solutions, and that's how we grow.
Vale, rápidamente, la pregunta era que si para determinadas soluciones era más fácil usar Elementor con plugins de terceros que tienen funcionalidades similares a la de Elementor Pro, o si hay que usar Elementor Pro. La respuesta de Ben básicamente lo que dice es que ellos tienen un producto básico, que es Elementor, tienen un kit de desarrollo para que cualquier desarrollador en el ecosistema enorme que ya conocéis todos de plugins disponibles para Elementor pueda desarrollar una solución, y que probablemente muchas de las soluciones que ofrezcan estas terceras partes sean equivalentes a su producto de pago, porque Elementor al final es gratuito. Pero que ese es el poder del software libre, el poder dar las herramientas a desarrolladores para que produzcan productos para tu producto, y que sea el usuario final el que se beneficie y al final elija libremente si quiere un producto o Elementor Pro. Vamos a darle un fuerte aplauso a Ben Pines. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.